Good morning, everybody. This has been a great week for our staff, our families, and our players. I want to thank Steve Hogan and everybody associated with Florida Citrus Sports. It's a first-class operation. They've done a tremendous job of creating a great experience and taking care of everybody the entire week. It's been fun for myself, my wife, and a lot of our staff to be back in the great city of Orlando. A lot of great memories, having spent 3 years here. And it's been fun to catch up with a lot of familiar faces, those at UCF, but also throughout the entire community. It's been a fun week to kind of go back and get a chance to see a lot of people that have helped me on my journey and been a part of the success that we've had, at the previous stop at UCF. And excited about the game tomorrow. This is a big-time college football game. A great way to kick off 2024. We recognize Coach Ferentz and his staff and their program, what they've done this year, but during the course of his tenure as well. They play extremely tough, smart, and physical, great opponent, and looking forward to kicking off.
Coach Ferentz, what you do for a moment?
Same thing, just, it's great to be here, first and foremost. We were here 2 years ago, and I was at an event last night, worked with a guy named Bill Brazier, back in the 80s on Coach Fry's staff, defensive coordinator, and he had a saying, he says, there's no such thing as a bad bowl game, some are just better than others. And I can tell you firsthand, this is one of the best out there. It's just a fantastic experience for everybody involved, our players first and foremost, staffs, families, the travel parties. So it's just been outstanding. As Josh said, Steve and the whole committee do just a wonderful job. So we're certainly thrilled to be back in Orlando and have a chance to play in a game like this. And bowl games are special. They're really special. They're special for the players, special for everybody involved, and to be in Orlando and be part of the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl is just a tremendous opportunity for us. We're very appreciative of that. A couple things about bowl games. Typically, every time you're in one, you play an outstanding opponent. In our case, we tend to be the underdogs. I think it's been all but maybe two in our 20+ years. So that kind of seems to be the way it is. But bottom line is both teams have earned the right to play in a game like this. It really is significant in that way. And there are other commonality of bowl games. It's the last game that our teams will be together. Both teams, staffs, etc. So makes it a little bit unique in that way, a little bit bittersweet. Certainly, the goal this week for us is like each and every week. You just want to try to play your best game. And the challenges of the month are a little bit different. I think that's probably the biggest change. So I have tremendous respect for Tennessee. Josh has done a great job, as any local people well know. He did an outstanding job here. Everywhere he's been, he's done an outstanding job, and no different in Tennessee. They're just a really good football team. Put a lot of pressure on their offensive system, a lot of stress on your defense. Our defensive team, very athletic, good up front, a lot of big, strong guys that are active and physical, and special teams are very impressive as well. The punter's done a really nice job, really good place kicker, outstanding punt returner, and so just a lot to prepare for, a lot of challenges out there for us tomorrow. So we're just excited to be here, and last game of the season again. Like I said, it's really a special thing. A lot of people involved, and think about a guy, our equipment guy, Greg Morris, 23 years as our head equipment guy, and 30+ years in the program. Was a student at Iowa. It's his last game as well. So just a lot of little side stories, if you will, but it's really all about the game, and we're excited to get out there and have a chance to compete tomorrow.
All right, thank you. I didn't see any early hands, but if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get started with, we'll go to the blue shirt with the riser in the back, and then we'll move up front. We don't have a mic. We'll start up front, and then we'll go to the blue riser in the back, since we already have a mic up here.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year. I'm Kyle Nash with the three-point conversion. I have a question for each of you. We'll start with Coach Ferentz. Both of you are making a return to Orlando in your each unique way. Coach Ferentz, last time you were here in Orlando for the Citrus Bowl, we talked about the state of college football and how it changed and all that. You mentioned the text from Coach Stoops. It was an excellent story. But to bring it here, what has helped you? What have you done to kind of maintain that success to return to the Citrus Bowl?
Well, sorry to say 2 years later, we're in worse shape than we were 2 years ago. I think it was possible, but we, the adults, have done a lot to really kind of screw this thing up, and we've got a great game. So I do, old guy in the room, I've got some concerns about what the future's going to look like. I think most people are aware that we have some real issues right now. I'm not sure what we can come to agreement what the remedies may be. But, you see a lot of things that just concern you. And again, there's a lot of moving parts, so I'm not gonna pretend I have all the answers, but despite all the challenges, I think the thing that remains consistent, the single best part about what we do is get to work with, really high quality young people. And that hasn't changed. It was the same way 2 years ago, 10 years ago, and that's a part you really enjoy. And I've always told people, I think at any job, you got X amount of percent of things you don't really look forward to doing, and then another percent hopefully you do like doing. And if that percent outweighs the other side, then it's still a pretty good deal.
And Coach Heupel, you started out at UCF, your previous job there. I used to do weekly pressers with you as well.
Yeah, it's been a while.
How have you changed as a coach with your time at Tennessee since you left Orlando?
Yeah, I think when, no matter what role you're in whatever profession you're in, you continue to learn how to become a better communicator, how to impact the people around you in a positive way. You continue to refine what you're doing inside of your program 365 days out of the year to allow kids to go be their best and create a culture that they enjoy being in and love competing in. And just continue to do that. You learn so much, as a leader of the program, you learn so much from the people around you, and in particular, student athletes. And those guys have been instrumental in the growth of who we are and what we do.
Okay, now we'll go back to the shirt.
Owen Sebring with KGAN in Cedar Rapids. This question's for Coach Heupel. I believe you're at Oklahoma. Chuck Long would have been your quarterback coach.
Well, we had a lot of Iowa guys down in Oklahoma.
I was just curious if you saw any sort of relationship with Coach Long, or if some of the things that you might have learned from him as your coach back then.
Man, I learned a lot from Coach Long. He helped refine me fundamentally, helped me continue to grow in my understanding of the football game, how to lead the people around me. That staff was filled with, the Stoops brothers, Jonathan Hayes was there as well. Those guys have all made such an impact in who I am and what we do inside of our program. Look at the success that we had. That was because of a lot of the things that they learned while they were at Iowa as players and as coaches, and have good relationships with a lot of those guys where I still talk to them, periodically throughout the year.
We'll go to the front right here.
This is for both of you guys as well. Back to what Kyle was talking about earlier, the December crush and how you guys dealt with it, with guys opting out, the transfer portal, signing day, all of this that you've had to deal with preparations. How did that affect you, and how did you go through that?
You want to answer that one?
Either of us do, quite frankly.
Yeah. I think Coach kind of alluded to it, the calendar in which we operate now. It changes the way December, part of January unfolds for you. I think, as we continue to move forward in this great game, is something that we have to look at. It's different because, when your regular season ends, you go through exit interview process. Each individual player's in a different position, and for a period of time, there's some uncertainty with a portion of your roster. And for us, I think is we finished up signing day. That kind of became the lead into the bowl game where you felt good about who was there, where they were at, their ability to play in the game, and be a part of your roster.
We'll take one
Yeah,
down.
it's just, it's just a different world. Even 20 years ago, you had guys possibly opting out for the NFL, not near the extent now. There's just a lot of parties involved now. It's not always healthy voices that the players hear. And some of the parties involved aren't necessarily thinking about what's best for the individual young people. And that's, it just kind of flies in the face of what we try to do as coaches, I think. So that's part of it. And, as Josh alluded to, we've opened the rules up now where it's really easy for people to make bad decisions. And I've always, not always, but for a while now, I've been just concerned about, how our thirst for the playoffs and our thirst for the national championship race, 2 teams, 4 teams, with all the focus going there with the public and the media, really diminishes some of the other bowls. And our first bowl game in 2001 was at San Antonio Alamo Bowl. And, we wanted Bob Sanders, the shortest guy in the field, came out with the ball. Wes Welker was an anchor to another short guy, but 2 pretty good players. Sanders comes out of the game with the ball at the end, they threw a Hail Mary, and it was like we won the Super Bowl. Like, that was a really important game, an important year for us, our third year, and we didn't turn the corner, but at least we were showing some progress, making traction. So, those games do mean a lot. They mean a lot for the people involved. And I just think right now there's a trend where, it's not the whatever game, it doesn't matter. And the guys ever played the game, that's why you play. You play to go out and compete, do your best every opportunity. And when I coached at Worcester Academy, every game was important. So, we've really drifted away from that a little bit, and I think that's unfortunate, because a lot of people are missing out on some really special experiences, and that's too bad.
All right, we'll take two down front here side by side, one on the riser, and then we'll come back.
Hey Kirk, right down here, LAClub.com. You got Luke Lachey, Jay Higgins coming back. As you're looking to bring some more of those guys back who are considering NFL options, I just curious as to how important a foundation of bringing Luke and Jay back, two team captains already, and know they're back next season.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't hurt. Those guys are so respected in the program, for rightfully so. They've earned it. So that doesn't hurt. But, my only request for our players, particularly the last 10 days, was, if you haven't made a decision, compartmentalize that stuff. It's kind of like high school kids with recruiting. Don't let that dominate your life. You're spending all the time looking over the fence, and it can be really distracting. It's hard. It's a really hard thing for the young people to go through 2 years ago. I thought Riley Moss was a little distracted down here, quite frankly. And then he surprised us all and came back, and he was not distracted his senior year. But it's a tough thing for young people to deal with. So our request is, just put it on the shelf. They've got plenty of time to make the decision when they get back, and ultimately, it's like recruiting in this way. You want the player to make the decisions best for him, and he's got the best seat in the house for that. But he's got to go through it methodically, get good information, and accurate information from people that actually do know, not Uncle Joe or some agent telling him this and this. So we just try to give him good information to deal with.
Hi Kirk, hope you're doing well. John Stebby, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Now as you wrap up year number 25, Phil Parker's been with you for all 25. Obviously the overall defensive results have been acknowledged, but is there anything that Phil does that you think really hasn't gotten a ton of attention that's been kind of key to his success?
Well, Josh mentioned the Stoopses, and when I was an assistant at Iowa, I always looked at Phil. Guy's three-time All Big Ten. He's not very big, he wasn't that fast, but he's just really smart and tough. And I always felt like, he could be in the Stoops family if he was an Iowa guy. So I had great respect for him as a player, and I've had a chance to work with him for, 25 years. I'll say this, unequivocally the best secondary coach I've ever been with, and I've been around some pretty good ones. He's a quality human being. He's half crazy, I think you've noticed it. He's got a little different personality. I don't want to call it an acquired taste, but someone's looks he gives you, it's like, okay, but he's just a tremendous football coach. He's had 2 jobs in his whole career. That's kind of unusual for a guy his age. But that's who he is. He just wants to coach football. He's all about the players, all about trying to get better. And, and I think Josh hit on this earlier, just when you're around good people on a day-to-day basis, players, staff, that's a fun part of it, and it's neat to see Phil's efforts being recognized a little bit right now. I'm kind of surprised, the national stuff, because, we normally don't get those kinds of things, but it's so deserved and just really fitting.
We'll go back, and then we'll come back up this way.
Hey Coach Ferentz, Jake Brent, Local 5 Sports. You mentioned a lot of those bowl games losing their luster with opt-outs and guys just leaving, but that hasn't been the case for your program. Why is it different at Iowa?
I don't know if I can answer it other than, just despite all the changes right now, there's still, I think there's still players out there that want to do it for the right reasons. And really enjoy the competition of the game, and the thing about football that is so unique. I've never coached any of this. Well, I did coach girls basketball 2 years. The AD made me do it at Worcester Academy, but football's so different because you get so many moving pieces, so many parts. So, when guys get to understand what the value of teamwork and working together with a bunch of folks, a fifth year DB might not know a freshman offensive lineman real well, but when you get them to understand that everybody's trying to do the same thing, I think it makes it really unique and special. And I think there's still a lot of players out there excuse me, that are motivated for that, and, you just gotta look hard and, you know, be a little bit lucky too, but they're, you know, we've been really fortunate to have a lot of good guys. And it's usually the guys in the front of the room are the ones that are, you know, I mentioned Lachey and Higgins, two guys that are great leaders. So they help bring other guys with them and, you know, hopefully stay focused on what really is important.
All right, come down on the aisle here, and then the end of the row here, and then two on the left.
This is for both of you. Coach Ferentz referenced the unhealthy voices that some kids hear. How much have you all encountered tampering, and how big of a problem do you feel like that is in today's game?
Yeah, certainly a part of it. You know, players have so many different people as they're going through their process early as young players. You know, before the recruiting process even starts out, from people that are training them to high school coaches to people that they have relationships with 7-on-7 and that type of thing. So it's certainly a part of the college landscape right now. Wish I had a silver bullet to change all of that. I don't think I do.
So I'm thinking of a funny story. It's probably 15 years ago. We had a guy visit our campus for maybe all of 16 hours because, you know, he had to move and all that kind of stuff. And I was told afterwards to give his mentor, Omar, a phone call. So anyway, I gave him a call. And yeah, we're talking about the situation a little bit. And I finally asked Omar, I said, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is your role? Like, I'm a mentor. I'm a mentor. So the young man that we were talking about was about 6'7", 330 pounds. I didn't ask him. I was really curious. Like, do you mentor anybody on the chess team or the debate team? So, you know, sometimes those things happen. It's really unfortunate. And you know, the predators in every business, every profession. But yeah, you know, when people are really invested in young people, that's a good thing. And you see a little drift now. Some, you know, players have to train with this guy instead of their high schools, and yeah, it's a world we're living in right now. And yeah, you know, what we do isn't really that hard. Like, training's not all that hard. It's a matter of hard work, having a good plan, and right down the list. I mean, none of this stuff is really that complicated, but what is complicated is just all the peripheral noise and peripheral interference and all those kinds of things. So again, it circles back to, you know, you gotta get kids that can focus on things that are important and keep their attention there. And whether it's, you know, playing in a game like this or, you know, year round, there's always something it's an obstacle, and distractions aren't new to life. I mean, you know, I did coach, like I said, started in the late 70s, but you know, the distractions that are available now have really changed, and social media has really driven that too. But so it's just, you know, there are more things to try to be proactive about than there used to be, I guess.
Hi, this is Scott Dockman with The Athletic. This is for both coaches. As difficult as December has become with the transfer portal, with an earlier signing period, you know, God forbid you want to spend time with your family for a little bit over the holidays, and then you also have to prepare for a game. Next year it gets exponentially worse because both of your programs have been in competition for a playoff. Next year you have a 12-game playoff, games in the middle of the month. How do you anticipate trying to navigate this? And is now the red light flashing that something absolutely has to change, or you guys will either burn yourselves out or there'll be some tragic results?
Yeah, and if you look at the placement of the first round of playoffs, everything that's going on in those first couple of weeks of December, how you add in preparation for a game of that size and magnitude during the course of what's happening. It wasn't like, you know, I wasn't on the phone or flying somewhere or in somebody's house or, you know, out of school every minute of the day. There's not enough time to accomplish everything that you needed to at this point in the season, or at this point in the calendar, let alone if you're preparing for a game like that. And, you know, that's where, again, the calendar of how everything unfolds, the game has changed so quickly, so dramatically. I do think it's something that we gotta look at.
Those are just some of the unintended consequences that we really don't give thought to before we make decisions. And yeah, the irony, in my opinion, is it's like a lot of things that are going on right now. You know, we always lead with, you know, what's best for the student athletes, but we don't always practice that with some of the decisions we make. And you know, there's certain absolutes I kind of try to live with. And when you're involved in game prep, when you're involved in competition, like, you know, in my mind, our focus needs to be on our players, the guys that are on campus. That's what we promised them in recruiting, and then, you know, meanwhile, we're, you know, like Josh said, we're flying over here and seeing this guy and all that kind of stuff, and, so it gets a little bit tricky that way, and in my mind, you know, the competition part of what we do, should be protected, really should be protected for everybody involved. And, you know, so there's a lot of gray area right now, and that's something we're gonna have to work through, I think, sometimes again, with that pressure, the playoff pressure, you know, we gotta do this, gotta do that. I've always marveled at, you know, North Dakota State's a great example, because they go every year and play 18 games. Like, how do you guys do that? You take finals, and all those things that they have to work through. It's really a heck of a challenge. It puts a lot of pressure on the players too, and that's, not to mention the wear and tear of a season, because it's a hard game. It's a hard game to play.
Should have asked Coach Quinn the other day. We're going back to the left on the pink shirt, and Mike Garvey.
KCK from WAT in Knoxville. This one's for Coach Heupel. You mentioned on Tuesday that Joe Milton was going to be on the sidelines during tomorrow's game. I'm just curious what role you wanted to play and how beneficial that could be, not just to Nico, but to the entire team to have him there.
Well, Joe's done it the right way during the course of his career. You look at you know, how everything's unfolded. It's a guy that chose to stay, believed in, you know, his teammates, what we were building, and how his coaching staff and players around him were going to help him grow as a player. He did a lot of really great things during the course of the season. He's been a huge impact on our program for, you know, game day on Monday. Be another voice to help Nico as he comes off the sidelines, things that are going on, being able to help him, you know, get ready for the next set and also create positive energy. You know, besides being the quarterback on the field, throwing football, making decisions, every other part of his roles that he's had during the course of the year, he can still have on the sideline.
Go to the left in the white shirt with the hat, and then we'll go back to the riser.
Yeah, Mike Bianchi, Orlando Seminole, Coach Hype. Can you elaborate just on your return to Orlando, any feelings of nostalgia, warm feelings, and also just year 3 in Tennessee, where's your program at, and did you expect it to happen so quickly?
You know, as far as what we've done at Tennessee, you know, where we started and took that program over at, how we were able to build a culture, you know, re-solidify the locker room, continue to grow the success that we've had. We've been disappointed with some of the results this season, obviously, but, you know, who we are, what we're about, and how we're continuing to grow, you know, what we've been able to recruit. We're really excited about the future. So, you know, there's so many people that go into reestablishing the foundational pieces of, you know, one of the greatest programs in the history of college football. And you know, we got to continue to grow. We got to go chase championships. I know that's the standard at Tennessee, but excited about the future. And as far as, you know, being back in Orlando, I mentioned it at the beginning. It's unlike you to show up late for a press conference.
Right.
I thought I might get a couple chuckles out of the crowd, but maybe not. Yeah, but you know, this is a great city. My family, myself, we absolutely love living here. A lot of our staff at Tennessee was with us here. It's been great to be back in the city. You know, to the administration, Coach Malzahn at UCF, they were great in allowing us to go practice there. You know, we rode in the first day, rode through campus, get off the bus, we're sitting right next to the bounce house, get a chance to go on the practice field. It was a lot of fun because there's so many great memories that came back. Got a chance to talk with a lot of people that have been a huge part of my journey and our journey. So it's been a great week. We had a night where, you know, we had, I don't know, 25, 30 players that got an opportunity to come out of the hotel and kind of hang out. It was a great night.
All right, last couple will go here, and then back left on the right.
Kind of building on what Scott asked earlier, if we could put you in charge of college football for like a day and you could change some things about either the calendar or whatever, what would you do? What would you change, Kirk?
Yeah, I think first thing we need a commissioner, you know. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, just, you know, it's a lot of independent contracting right now, and it's really hard to get people to visit, and I said something to Jim Delaney about that, I don't know, 13, 15 years ago. Just, you know, sitting in meetings, listening. It really seems like in my opinion, I'm not going back over a decade. It seemed like the Power 5 commissioners need to get in a room and visit. You know, maybe throw a couple athletic directors and coaches in there as well, just to get some, you know, specific feedback, that type of deal. And, you know, just have a summit and really basically blow everything up and try to start over again, maybe come up with a little better model. And that's a while ago, so I mean, things have changed, continue to change, there's a lot of things to address. But I think some type of common voice or, you know, common set of, we don't have structure right now, I guess that's my biggest complaint. And there's not a lot of transparency when you talk about NIL, some of that, a lot of embellishment, a lot of stuff going on out there, so. You know, 6 years in the NFL, and I've never had a bad job, I really enjoyed my time in the NFL, but one thing about the NFL, 32 teams all play by the same rules, same, you know, everything's the same, the field truly is level. It's a really good thing, if you can draft a good quarterback, that's a good thing, that gives you an edge, or if you have a really good owner, and there are, you know, so certain jobs have inherent advantages, but, you know, at least at that league, like, everybody kind of starts even, and when I was in the league, the Bengals were terrible. And now they've played at a really high level, so it just shows everybody's got opportunity. I'm not sure college football is like that a little bit, and, you know, somehow, some way, we have to come up with some structure, I guess, if I boiled it down to one thing. And then there was enforcement too, which is another thing the NFL has, and, you know, college football is really lacking in that department, so. And it's hard, because you know, we've had a governing body trying to overlook however many schools play collegiate sports. There's a big difference between, you know, football and whatever, you know, football co-college. The AD was up there 10 years ago, we were talking about some rules, cup blocking, coincidentally. And, you know, he had no idea, he was voting on it. He's a really good guy, so I'm not mad at him, but it's like, why are you voting on that? You don't have any idea on the topic. So it's just an illustration of some of the, you know, we need to, you know, centralize things a little bit and at least try to come up with some kind of structure that's, you know, workable for everybody.
Games always, you know, changed, and I think that's a positive thing, growth. It's changed so rapidly, so quickly, that I do think you gotta take somebody has to take a hard look at, you know, how we put all these pieces together and continue to have the greatest game that there is, and do it the right way for everybody involved, and players at the center point of that. To do that, I think, you know, you gotta have all the players, and when I say players, all the decision makers in the room, and somebody's got to grab a hold of the reins and take it in the right direction.
We'll take one last one on the left here.
Paige Dower, WBLT Knoxville back here. Coach Tim Banks was asked the other day about losing a few guys to the transfer portal and how he viewed it. He called it an opportunity. How would you say the younger guys have taken advantage of that opportunity, or like risen to the challenge, especially in this final week?
Yeah, our practice and our preparation back home and here has been really good. You know, the bowl season, and, you know, Coach was talking about the changes, you know, during the course of his career to it. There's more guys that, you know, have opted out. You got guys that have made decisions to go to the NFL, some have hit the portal. It creates opportunity for guys that maybe, you know, haven't played a ton on a unit. You know, they've got some reps, probably played a lot of special teams, but it's an opportunity for the young guys to take ownership and go prove that they're ready to go play at a high level. And in some ways, these bowl games are, you know, culmination and a finish to the 23 season, but they're also, you know, the start and kickoff for a lot of those young guys to 24.
All right, Coach Heupel, Coach Ferentz, thank you for being here this morning. We appreciate your time, as we have all week, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.